Guys, I am here with Rona Drummer, who is the president of Elite Financial Services. And Rona, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. We are excited about this because I know that, as a person in the financial services realm, you've got probably people listening here have a lot of questions on how you work and what it is that you do and kind of your story on how you got started doing this, differentiating yourself from the crowd and some of the other folks there. Tell us a little bit about, real quick, tell us a little bit about your business, yourself, kind of, your background, if you don't mind, on what you've got going on here.
Okay. My name is Rona Drummer, and I started Elite Financial Services back in 2000.
Okay.
And originally I was a research scientist.
Yeah.
Did that for a couple of years.
Okay.
And realized I'm very analytical.
Right.
But what I realized my passion was more in finance. So
Okay.
Problem solving and analytical.
Right.
So I started pursuing that.
Okay.
And I realized through training that a lot of people had financial questions, but they were afraid to ask.
Right.
And they didn't want people to know
Right.
that I didn't have it all together.
Right.
So the more I saw that, I realized this is where I need to be to help people overcome that.
Right.
And be able to speak about it so that they can get the help that they need.
And you make a great point. You talk about, and I do, we see financial people all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do,
Right.
I do,
Right.
they probably do.
Right.
And I think one of the things that is a real issue for a lot of people who are potentially looking for help is the point you just made.
Yes.
They don't want to look like they need the help. And for whatever reason in this country, it's become, we're all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we don't want to talk about how we could save it or do it or maximize it or anything like that.
Right.
Talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you've helped, or maybe that you've seen people run across, that you kind of, maybe one or two that you've kind of seen people and you've addressed with them.
Well, what I've seen a lot is that people have somewhat of a plan, or
Okay.
they know they're saving money. Maybe they have a 401k.
Right.
Or they have some mutual funds at the bank, or
Right.
different things, CDs, but they don't really know, how is that all working for me?
Right.
You know, I have all this going, but what's that going to look like in the future? I'm
Right.
just saving it.
Right.
Where does it go to, and how do I make decisions? So I find that they're doing some of the right things, but they just have no idea what's the most efficient way.
Yeah, you've seen that commercial. I don't remember what the company it was for, where the guy's like, and we've talked about this before, where the guy's like, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm saving for my financial, I'm saving for my retirement. And he's like, well, what's your number? Oh, it's just a gazillion. I just keep putting money in. And, right? You've seen that? I mean, you guys are probably, I'm just a gazillion, and I'm just gonna keep putting money away, and maybe it will work out.
Right.
And what I'm hearing you say is, it sounds like you're giving people a blueprint. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word.
Absolutely. For example, in that example in retirement, a lot of people are saving for retirement, but what they don't realize is the accumulation phase is easy. You put money away, I'm doing that, I know how to do that.
Right.
But the distribution phase.
Right.
They have a partner called Uncle Sam.
Interesting.
So how in retirement, what would that look like, getting the money out?
Right.
The other thing is, how do I know I won't run out of money in retirement?
Right.
What's a good time to leave and exit?
Right.
So what we do is we sit down and we have a program called Retirement Ready or Not.
Okay.
And we ask some questions,
Okay.
financial questions, and we give a financial picture of, are you ready? So if a client says, I want to retire at 65.
Right.
We put in the information, just numbers. And your life expectancy, and where do you run out of money? So a client can see ahead of time, doing what I'm doing now, I'm gonna run out of money when I'm 75.
Right.
So what happens then? Most people, if they run out, they go back to work.
Oh.
So what I try to do is,
that.
let's plan that and see, well, what you're doing now is gonna, and then what we're able to do is say, here are some suggestions, and show you how to not run out of money.
Right. What would you say, not to put you on the spot, but
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of advisors, there's a lot of people out there who say they do what you do. How would you, for people maybe who don't know you, how would you say that you differentiate yourself? Just talking, if you were to.
When you talk to some financial advisors, or most financial advisors,
Yeah.
the conversation will go something like this: hey, Brian, where do you have your money now?
Right.
And you might tell me where you have it, and I'm like, what are you earning on that? What's your rate of return on that money?
Right.
And then the advisor may say, well, I could do better, Brian. Why don't you move your money over to me and let me manage it? I'll get you a higher rate of return.
Right.
Which could be true, but But what you don't realize, you have to take more risk.
Right.
So
Right.
depending upon your age and your
Right.
situation, you have to look at more than rate of return. A lot of advisors take you straight to rate of return.
Right.
So if I give you a golf analogy,
Right. Right.
if I'm sending you to the Masters,
Right.
and I'm going to say, Brian, I'm going to send you to the Masters to play.
Right.
I'll allow you to pick one of two things. You can have the clubs of any of the best players,
Right.
or you can have their ability.
Right.
Which one would you take with you?
Yeah, I'll definitely take the skills.
Yeah, the ability, right?
Right,
Because the
right.
clubs don't make the man, it's the
Right,
ability.
right.
So that's what happens. The clubs are the financial products. And a
Interesting.
lot of advisors go straight to the club rack
Right.
to fit you for clubs.
Interesting.
What I do is I'm more of a swing coach.
Right.
So I want to see what you're doing now.
Right.
Is it efficient?
Right.
What happens is some people have a plan together, but there's holes in that plan,
Right.
and they're losing money, maybe in taxes
Right.
or other areas. So what I do is I find the money.
Interesting.
I plug those holes. We
Right.
bring that money back to the table to
Right.
accomplish your goals.
You know, that's interesting because I think a lot of times it's almost like you're saying that the advisors are going with the greener grass strategy, right?
Right,
That
right.
You have this,
Right.
okay, but I can get you, that,
Right.
and this is always going to, I guess, be better than that. But they're not looking at the why. And from what I hear you saying, they're not looking at the how,
The how.
in terms of getting you to where you want to go.
Right.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Rate of return is important, but it's not the only thing.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on. Tell us a little bit about how you got started. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. You said
Yeah.
2000
Yeah.
or whatever.
It happened probably back in 1999. I started thinking about leaving the research field and coming home to be with my boys. I wanted to raise them at home, but then I thought I do want to do something.
Right.
But in order to leave my job, the reason I had to look at why I was working in the first place.
Right. Right.
So I went to my checkbook and realized it was going to a lot of bills.
Right.
So I started taking classes because I wasn't taught at home, which a lot of people are not taught finances at home.
Which
It's
is
kind of
another
like you
point.
go off and you
Right.
figure it out by yourself.
Right, right.
So I started taking some classes in understanding, finance and,
Right.
and what are the right ways of doing things. And I learned a lot and I was so
I know.
excited.
Yeah.
So I came back and started teaching classes, and all the people I thought knew it would rush in. So
Right.
I realized this is where I need to be. This is my
Right,
purpose,
right.
is to teach these principles so that even if they're not working with me, they have the principles to make the best decision for them.
Right. That's awesome. I'm reading, you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
And I read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is
Right.
his most popular. But I'm reading Cash Flow Quadrant.
Yes,
Which
yes.
I actually did read before, and then it got stuck in our basement for whatever reason.
Right.
And it got mold on it. So then I stopped reading it for
Right,
obvious
right,
reasons.
right.
And then I got it back. I got it on Audible actually a couple months ago. I was listening to it. And anyway, the point is that, your point about we're not taught this. Right? That's what Kiyosaki says. He says we're not taught, he says a lot, but you're not taught this. We are, we're still back to that commercial, just earn the money and hope for the best.
Right.
Get a good job, hope for the best.
Right.
Work for the government and, not that the government's a problem, but, just work for this
Right.
and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And what you're telling me is again, back to the point, you're creating a blueprint for these folks.
Yes.
You're helping them get organized.
Yes.
You're helping them, it sounds like, probably get some peace of mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you know where you're going, it's kind of like a GPS, financial GPS.
Yeah, we've talked about
Sometimes
that.
we get off track,
Yeah.
but the GPS will bring you back on. So
Yeah.
that's what I'd like to do, is be that GPS to help people get back on track.
That's awesome.
So that they can see where they're going.
Right.
They see the end point, and we're traveling along the way. And if they get back on, I can bring them back.
Well, I'll tell you what, back using that analogy, last night my phone died, and because I thought I charged it and I hadn't, so I'm in the car and the darn thing I couldn't get to the hotel. And no, I didn't know. I'm sitting in the dark.
Yeah.
And the thing, and I'm trying to charge it with the car.
Right.
And fortunately, I knew the city I was going into,
Right.
and then just kind of, I thought, went that direction, and
Right.
it turned out I was correct. But, using your analogy, finances is a lot like that. I'm on the road, it's dark, I see a few other cars, but I'm not stopping.
Right.
And yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, good. Let's talk a little bit about, you talked about one of the challenges. Let's get a little bit more into that challenge issue a little bit. So we've already talked or touched on, not the GPS piece, right? Not knowing what's going on and trying to pull it all together. What else do you help people out with in terms of, specifics, not their names, obviously.
One of the issues that I found is that people, they don't have access to capital.
Okay.
That's an issue,
Okay.
having access to capital. How can I get access to a large amount? Of course, if it's something small, we might be able to pay it through our cash flow.
Right.
But what about large ticket things like
Right.
college education?
Right.
You know,
Good point.
what about you need to put a roof on your house?
Right.
Sometimes those large items, which we normally have to finance because
Right.
we don't have the cash flow.
Right, right.
How do we do that?
Right.
Sometimes people don't plan for that.
Right.
They know it's coming, but it's back here is not important right now.
Right.
But then it comes up quickly.
Right.
And then you have to make a decision. So
Right.
what we talk about is how do we have access to capital to do the things that we need to do.
Okay.
So for example, buying a home.
Okay.
What type of mortgage should I get?
Right.
There's so many out there.
Right,
How do you
right.
make sense of that?
Right.
How does that fit into my plan?
Right.
And so those are some of the things that we talk about is having access to capital. So
Okay.
when you need to do something,
Okay.
you are actually in charge. Instead of gathering everything up, trying to go to the bank and hoping that they will give you the loan that you want. And so that's what we teach people to do is that your savings that, they say Americans don't save enough.
We don't.
But part of that is they may be saving in their 401k, but they don't have access to that
Right.
until
That doesn't
59
count.
and a half. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what if there was a place where you can save the money somewhere else and have access to it over your lifetime?
And that's also what you do with the college funding, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, because that's a large item, and a lot of parents either remortgage their homes
Yeah.
or they take out of their 401k to pay
Right.
for college.
Right.
But what if you could do both, so
Right.
that your children leave the nest, but not with your nest egg?
Well, that's an interesting point because I see a lot of parents and stuff like that. I mean, when I went to school, I think it was like 30. What was it? It was 30 grand a year,
Yeah.
give or take, and that's my understanding is it's doubled or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like it's almost when it's all said and done, it's like $250,000 now.
The cost of college keeps rising.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Absolutely.
And I don't know where people find this money.
Right.
And if you don't have a game plan, and I'm talking about like
Years ahead.
like when they're starting to walk,
Right,
at least
right,
having some
right,
type
right.
of an idea.
Right.
And I see a lot of people who, they're getting into junior high school, and then suddenly they want to have their hairs on fire because they want to have a conversation about, whatever.
Right.
And that's not the way to go. So you're helping people not only get on track with that early on, but also, I guess, if there is a challenge, helping them make sense
Exactly. We do specialize in late stage college funding because
Okay.
we do understand a lot of people procrastinate.
Right.
And it before they know it, it's
Right.
just because before you know it, the kid's ready to go to college.
Right,
And it was
right.
like they were 2 yesterday.
Right, right.
So we do specialize in late stage college planning. So that
Okay.
means before their junior year.
Okay.
Like their junior year is
All
the
right, so
cutoff.
this is not
Junior
senior year, okay, right?
The beginning of
That's
the junior
important.
year, right? And so what we look at, there's 2 types of client.
Okay.
There's one that feels they'll receive financial aid. They don't have enough resources. And
Fine.
then we have some clients that feel they make too much money. I'm not going to qualify.
Right.
But we tell everyone still apply.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, a couple more things here. Let's talk a little bit about if someone were to work with you. All right, we talked about differentiation between you and
Right.
some of the other folks. You've mentioned some of the things that you do. Give us a feel for philosophically kind of where you're coming from and maybe what people could expect if they're trying to get to know you and
Right.
maybe thinking you might be the person to work with them. What
Right.
could they expect?
Well, one of the things that's really important to me, and which was my beginning,
Yeah.
was I wanted to leave because I realized this was more of what I should be doing. It's more of my purpose.
Okay.
And the hurdle to that was the debt or working
Right.
and all those things. So getting through that, I want to help other people to be able to do that, to overcome those hurdles
Okay.
to their dreams and their purpose.
Okay.
A lot of people work to pay bills,
Right.
but they don't love what they do.
I know.
And I think it's just a tragedy if you can't do what you were made to do and what you love to do.
Right.
And because when you do what you love to do, it's not work.
Right.
So
right.
I want people to be able to experience that if that's what they're looking for.
Okay.
And they don't have that satisfaction.
Okay.
As well as those who love their job. I'm in my job, but I'm not on the right track. I don't know where I am in this whole thing or what it looks like. So that's what my philosophy is there. I feel that there's more opportunities in avoiding the losses than in trying to pick the winners.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So if you're going just trying to pick things that are going to get you to where you want to be,
That's
winners,
Shazam.
you're taking risks, but you
Right.
don't know how does that fit.
Right.
So what I look to do is to sit down and talk about your goals.
Okay.
Each family is different. That's
Right.
what I love about it.
Right.
Because each one is different. So
Right.
a lot of people may go to work to the cooler and they meet someone and someone gives them advice. And it might
The
be
hot tip.
good. Yeah, hot tip. It might be good advice, but not for them.
Right.
So you really want to understand, and I'm more goal oriented. What do you want to do for your family?
Right.
And then tell me all those things, and let's see what you're doing. Is that going to take you there? And
Right.
if not, let's fix that.
And that's another great point, because what I'm hearing is the terminology I use is meeting people where they're at.
Right.
And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And then it also sounds like, we talked about this before, it's not the greener grass strategy. So you're not going, eventually you'll probably talk about something, but it's not what's your rate today? How can I get you
Right,
tomorrow?
right.
It's, let's make sense of this. Let's sit down, let's figure out where you're at now.
Right.
Let's see how where you're trying to go.
Right.
Where you're at, where you're trying to go. And let's talk about maybe how potentially I can get you there.
Right.
And that is certainly something that I know, people like myself certainly value, and I'm sure other people value as well.
Absolutely. A lot of people crush products. Oh, this is not a good product. I don't believe that. It may not be a good product for you.
Right, but not in the absolute sense.
Right.
Bad.
Because the products, those clubs,
Right.
we're going to the clubs last.
Right.
Let's get the efficiency of your swing. What are you
Right.
doing? What do you want to do?
Right.
Then go find the products or the clubs
Right.
that fit you.
I love that. I love that. All right, well, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about where we can connect with you. I know you've got a website and all that other good stuff.
Absolutely. You can reach me at ronadrummer.com.
Okay.
That's RONA.
Uh-huh.
Rona, drummer, like in a band.
Okay.
.com.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, this was really, really good stuff. I hope you guys got some good stuff out of it. I know I certainly did. And I appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much.
Thank you.